and welcome to another video. Today is Thursday the 10th of June and I am 2 days out from the Celtman. So by the time this video goes live, I will have hopefully, fingers crossed, have completed it. So what I'm going to do is break down everything that I'm taking with me up north so that you understand what actually is required for an extreme triathlon. Spoiler, it's quite a lot. So before we go any further, I have 3 simple requests. Number 1, if you wouldn't mind taking your finger on a little journey, or your mouse on a little journey, and just hitting that like button, that would be great. Subscribe if you haven't already, number 2, and I put 3 fingers up there. But number 3, please drop a comment with anything that you want to say at all. Drop it a comment, just helps push the channel to more people, and I would love for you to do so. It would make me very happy. So moving on, breakdown of kit. Obviously an extreme triathlon is swim, bike, run, but there are a little bit more demands in the way of kit for each element. So starting things off, I'm taking, pig, go away. Starting things off, I'm taking the wetsuit that I've been using normally as a backup, just in case something goes wrong, and my dry robe. But moving on to the swim section, I have the new Gymshark tri-suit, which was prepared for me today, so that I can prepare for tomorrow. And that will be basically my base for the entire race. So this will be on my chest. I will have undershorts underneath. I will have chamois cream in all relevant areas. Any Clydesdale athletes, bulk ponies, bigger fellas, whatever you want to call yourself, will know how essential this is on a race like this. Tri-suit over the top, undershorts, as I've said, and then it will be a case of wetsuit. And as the Celtman is around 10 degrees water temperature, I'm allowed booties, gloves, neoprene swim cap, and then I've just got this in case I get in the water beforehand. But what I will be doing is racing in a Celtman swim cap that is given to me on the day. So that is the swim. I've got Vaseline for my neck as well, because anyone that swims in neoprene will know the more that you do that, you can very easily give yourself a bit of a rhino neck effect. Moving on, we're actually onto the bike over here because there was not enough space to get through everything there. So Cervelo P3X with NV65 foundations with custom Gymshark vinyls. I don't know if a brand has ever done that before, so that is looking pretty cool, I must say. I think I can go out on a limb and say that this is the coolest bike on the planet. Anyone disagree? Yeah? Let me know in the comments down below and we'll go to war over the keyboard. Anyway, new addition since the video that I did on it a couple of weeks ago. I've got myself some aero bottles on here. I've got some tubeless kit in here because these are now tubeless. So other than that, I've got the bottle cage on the back and nothing else has changed there. So working left to right, I'm gonna have 750ml bottle here. That's gonna be water. I'm gonna have 500ml of electrolytes and carbs, and basically every 20k, I'm gonna drop that, I'm gonna drop that. Johnny's gonna hand me a replacement, He's gonna take these, he's gonna refill them, rinse and repeat for the whole 202 kilometers. That's the plan. I've then got 2 300ml bottles as backup. I've got a set of gloves, I've got a buff, I've got overshoes, I've got my cycling shoes, I've got a pair of socks. So out of the water, into socks, into all this stuff. I've got a new helmet to go really, really fast in, courtesy of Black Box. Thank you very, very much. I am not made in Belfast, but their kit is, and it's very good. Also, custom Gymshark leg warmers. I've got 2 pairs of these. One is slightly thinner than the other, depending on the temperature. And some arm warmers to go over the tri-suit if needs be. But that is the bike. I'm gonna have gels in here, but due to the nature of the Celtman, you have a support car and a support team, so you don't need to carry as much on you as you normally would. But there are also no aid stations, so you need to balance it a little bit. But it means that in terms of fluids and energy, I've got everything on the bike that I need. If I have a puncture, I've got all the kit that I need in here and here. But if it's drastic, then I can phone the car and use a hand pump or something to pump it back up, so all is not lost. But that's pretty much the bike. Some chamois cream as well in my back pocket. Same reasons as before, don't want to be bleeding in that region, shall we say. I don't want to describe it too much, but it can get pretty rough. Moving on, oh yeah, also I'm going to take a spare set of wheels just because for any mechanical stuff you can swap in and out, unlike an Ironman race where you'd just be doomed. So I'm going to get some tyres and some tubes on these before we go, and then I've got a spare set of wheels so that if anything does go drastically wrong, my tubeless breaks down, etc., then we've got a last chance resort. But chances of that happening are so slim, I'm not worried about that at all. Moving on, the run. So the Celtman is I mean, calling it a run's a bit generous. It's basically an aggressive hike with some running thrown in. It's a marathon over 2 Monroes in total. It's got 1,800 meters of gain, and because of that, because of the nature of the terrain up there, because of the variability of the weather, there is a mandatory kit list that you are not allowed onto the mountain unless you have. So, I'm using the Osprey Duro 15 as my main pack, and Johnny's going to be doing the same. Johnny's my support runner. I have, from head to toe, I'll have a cap or a beanie depending on what I use. I'll have my sunglasses on because I won't have those on the bike because there's a visor on the helmet. Need to have a head torch fully charged in your backpack in case things go wrong. Well, not in case things go wrong, but in case you finish in the dark, which is definitely a possibility. You need a compass, you need a whistle. I've got 2 soft flasks on the front here. You need to have a fully taped waterproof jacket. This is the Through Dark Skirmish, and this has seen me through everything that I could ever need it to, so I'm definitely relying on this. You need to have a second base layer, a second overlayer. So this is the Gymshark Speed Range, that is a Gymshark base layer. You need a set of gloves. I've got a pair of socks in case I get soaked on the bike and I want to change them, and then I'm running in the Saucony Peregrine 11s. I've been all over the place with shoes recently because anyone that's followed me for a while will know that I do most of my running and all of my walking in zero drop shoes, and all of the stress going through my calves on the bike basically means that when I've been running recently, I've needed a little bit more of a drop just to take that stress off my calves. So for the sake of after a 202 kilometer ride, I've got a little bit of a drop there, but I don't like the way these shoes feel all that much because I feel like they cramp my toes at the end. But that's my problem, not yours, but just a bit of context as to why, if anyone asks if I recommend these, I wouldn't have a particular answer. But the lugs are what I'm gonna need for the terrain because the first 17K is sort of rolling hills with some bogs, etc. And then there's loads of scree, loads of like hard rock, loads of grass up in the mountains, and a pretty aggressive ridge that you want as much grip as you can get for as well. Over trousers are essential. These are Rab Gore-Tex ones. They're pretty heavy actually, but they are very, very waterproof. But I don't really know how light you can get away with on these because I haven't had many waterproof over trousers in my time, but these are an excellent set and they've saved me a few times in the past. They do just feel a bit heavy holding them here, especially in that. Poles are optional, but I'm definitely going to use them because they were so useful on Project Vertical, and when I'm fatigued, if I can lean and get a bit more of a stride, a bit more of a lunging motion, then I'll be moving better. So that's basically the mandatory kit list. So that's everything I'm going to need for the actual race itself, but Torridon is very, very remote northwest of Scotland. Nearest supermarket's an hour and a half away, so we need to take everything with us today, and any resupplies are pretty much out of the options. So I've got a couple miscellaneous things kicking about, but I've got a box of gels that I've always had. So these are just going to be grab and go in the car. I've got electrolytes and carbs that'll be going in the aero bottles. I've got my box of electrics. I've got the drone. I've got all the spare parts for the Cervelo P3X. I've got a hand pump for the car, a spare tool for the car, a spare tube or two for the car. Drone kit, I've got some spare bib shorts and a spare jersey just in case, because I don't know, maybe, perhaps. Other than that, I've got sort of casual clothes for the days around it just so that I'm comfortable. I've got 2 pairs of Vivos with me, and then I've got all my sort of breakfasty race food. So meal wise, we're sorted tonight, which is Thursday. We're sorted tomorrow night, which is Friday. But tomorrow breakfast, lunchtime, and Saturday breakfast and dinner time, and then Sunday we're going to need whatever we have with us ahead of time. So just stockpiled more than I'll need, a real variety of stuff because I don't know what I'm going to be feeling like when I'm in a hole on the bike, etc, etc. But that is all in there. I've got some protein shakes, I've got some pizzas, I've got some other things, I've got some milk, I've got some butter, etc, etc, all in here because we've got croissants, I've got bagels, etc. So just a real range of things so that I know energy is not going to be a problem, and I can shout to Johnny ahead when he's in the car, this is what I want, and then he can be 10 yards up the road and dish me a bagel with jam and butter or whatever it ends up being. I've also got some salty stuff as well, a few savoury things kicking about, a fair amount of cookies because these are actually things that I can sink a lot of when I'm doing endurance events. Sometimes I get a bit of palate fatigue and don't really want to eat anything, but I've always been able to get through an entire cookie no bother. Whether that says more about me than it does the source of nutrition, I don't know. Cookie Monster joke somewhere, perhaps, yes, but those are there in case I need any rapid energy. And then I can just grab and go in T2 for the run, stick it into my backpack over there, and I'm good to go. I've then just got sort of miscellaneous toiletries, inhalers, everything else all in here. I've got 5 litres of water that's just going to sit in the car, and that will pretty much cover everything that's going in. So I'm going to lay out the car, and then what we'll do is once we get to the accommodation, we'll lay all this out so that only everything that I need for the race itself will be in the car. It'll be organised, swim, bike, run. There'll be a box of savoury stuff, a box of sweet stuff, there'll be electrolytes, there'll be water, and then it'll just be a case of Johnny will know what to grab, know what to give me at what time, I'll shout ahead, they'll give it to me, I take it, I go. Efficient as that, in theory. So, it's quite the haul. It's quite the haul, I think we can all admit. But I'm going to come back to that thing I said earlier and say, please try and dispute that that is the coolest bike on the planet. But that is an overview of what is required from an extreme triathlon. Quite a short video today, one take video, not my finest work at points. I can imagine I went a bit monotonous and wasn't that exciting, but hopefully you've enjoyed this because it gives an overview of what is actually a pretty kit heavy sport as is, but then when you throw the extreme element in as well, it gets a bit ridiculous. I'm looking at this wondering what on earth am I doing? So by the time this goes live, you will know how I've got on at the Celtman, I will know how I've got on at the Celtman, but for the time being, I'm excited to get on the road, see what I can put out, see what the weather throws at me, and see how much I enjoy embracing the Scottish weather. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. See you next time.